also. I've noticed that you work in an industry which connects both healthcare and technology, which is like a bridge between two entirely different branches of science. It's like on the two opposite spectrums. So, how does it feel like being a bridge between these?
Yeah, I think today technology has pervaded into almost all fields of science. So it's not a new thing anymore. It was back, I think, 15, 20 years back. But right now, interdisciplinarity is the flavor of the times. Um, it's really interesting because um, in today's scientific world, I think you cannot be categorized as someone who does only wet lab experiments and has nothing to do with data analysis. That's someone else's job. It doesn't work like that these days. You might have expertise in wet lab, but you're still expected to have some amount of digital literacy, which is to work with your data. People work with in Microsoft Excel, but nowadays they are also encouraged to learn a little bit of coding uh, to analyze the data and make visualizations and such. ChatGPT is a big help for those who find it very daunting to start coding or enter into technology. Similarly, people who come from a technology background who are very adept at programming and such. And if they are working in, suppose, the healthcare industry, where they are working with biological data or sequencing data for that matter, they would also be expected to know how that data is generated. So it's so the gap between technology and the pure sciences is like closing very fastly now, especially with the AI tools. It's the barrier has reduced. You could talk in your own language but get back an output in the technical or a computer programming language. So a person, I would call myself a generalist who likes to have a big picture view of things. There are people who are specialists who are very focused on a specific field. So uh, I chose to work in computational chemistry for my PhD because I was really fascinated by the fact that you could work on biological systems uh, and run chemical and also study chemistry in biological systems using methods that have their roots in physics. So when we simulate protein molecules in the computer, we are subjecting each atom to the laws of physics, which is the Newtonian laws of motion. So you need to understand like the classical mechanics, charge interactions, and those things. You go to that level, then you study chemistry, and it's happening in a biological system, and all of this is being done in a computer. So there's also the coding aspect of it. So I really enjoyed doing this because I could be challenged in different fields at the same time, and I would not be focused just on one of these fields. So it feels really nice. It's nice when you can interact with other people uh, from a diverse field. So uh, as a scientist who has worked with these in this field, I could go and meet people who are working in pure life sciences and just talk a little bit to them about the assays and like what they do in the experiments. I might not have complete knowledge of that, but I can use that as a starting point to learn more about it. I could also talk to people working in the tech sector about what are the developments in AI and what's going on that could be the next big thing. I could also talk to people studying chemistry. How are they being affected by technological development? So for me, it's nice to be in this center point where I could interact with people from different backgrounds.
Yeah, so what you said about interdisciplinarity, it all makes a lot of sense now because as emerging students and researchers, we are also getting to hear the term a lot. And also that brings us to the next question about AI with artificial intelligence on the rise. Do you think it's like a boon or a bane for scientists like you? Like, how does it help you in your field of drug discovery, or do you think that okay, there might be some demerits as well of AI? Your thoughts?
Yes, so I would say like any technology, there is a positive and a negative aspect to it. It depends on how the user uses it. AI, I would say, so far has been much more than a boon for scientists because the problem we had until AI came into the picture was that in life sciences and, for example, in bioinformatics, we had loads of data, but there were not enough people or manpower to process and analyze that data. So the rate of producing data had far surpassed the rate of analyzing the data, and it was becoming a challenge because uh, how would you work on something that's growing at 10 times the speed of what you can actually do? And so in that respect, AI has been a boon because this can be done by AI. So I think it's a boon if it's used very judiciously, and if it's used specifically for the purposes that it was developed for and it is best at. And since it's a new technology, people are still trying to play with it, and it's still in an exploratory phase because people don't know how exactly to use it. So I think time would settle things down, and at some point people would realize like what it's best for. It's like a smartphone. So when the smartphone came out, there was so many things, like people would play games on it and do all sorts of things. But then after some point, when the technology matured, people understood how best to use it. I think that's the same with AI. In our field, it's quite it's revolutionizing it a lot. I can say from my personal experience, like in the last 3 to 4 months, there have been so many new methods or tools that have come up in the field of peptide design, drug design. Um, if I would not call it a bane, but the only negative aspect is like you need to keep have a grasp of each of these tools that come up so quickly. So that's become a challenge. That once you study something, you already have 5 more tools that have come up, and then you need to like look at how those work. And at this point, nobody knows how effective these tools are. As I said, it's still in an exploratory phase. But I believe 1 or 2 years down the line, things would settle down and we would get some validation from the experiments as well, like which tools are more reliable. And then, yeah, things would converge towards a limited number of options. But so far, it's excellent for science.
So you're a scientist now. How validated do you feel to get that title? Like all the struggles, I can imagine how much struggles you went through to reach that particular point. So give the listeners some kind of motivation getting to that stage.
Sure. So I would say get you mentioned struggles. Yes, there is a lot of struggle in the field of scientific research. But I would also say that you don't as soon as you start doing science, it could be at any level, at school level or a bachelor's level, you are already a researcher. I would call you a researcher because as soon as somebody is working on some experiment and somebody's producing data, somebody's analyzing that data, you are already doing science. It's just that it might be at a smaller scale, it might be at a lesser risk, but you have already embarked on that journey. And the most important thing is not the destination, because you don't know where you're getting. I think the most important aspect of doing science is the journey of doing science. And the struggles, if you may call that, are also a part of doing science. If you could get everything easily, then there's no fun in doing anything. There's fun in getting success only after failing. That's when you get that success tastes sweet. So I would say scientific research is a very rewarding field. It's it also gives you a lot of responsibility to work ethically, to be very thorough in your methods, to not take any shortcuts, because um, that would be against the spirit of science. So uh, I would just suggest people who are looking to venture into science that just be passionate about the field. Struggles are a part of it. Just don't find it new that if you find yourself in a difficult situation, just think that, yeah, it's expected to happen. It's okay, this time will pass. There would be times where you would be working very hard, but you would not be getting any results, any data. And you would feel like, what am I doing with my life? And there would be times where you would not be putting in that much of an effort, but by luck, you might get results. So it's a mixed bag. The key thing is to just be honest towards the work that you're doing and just follow the process, the due process of running your protocols or the methods according to the regulations, and results will follow. And in science, even a negative result is a result. If you are trying to do something to if you're trying to find a way to get something, and if you don't get that, you have found a way to not get something. So at least you can say that this does not work. So that's also a result, and that's a part of science. And I think it's a collective effort of the entire community that results in something revolutionary. So if I could take an example of AlphaFold that has revolutionized modeling protein structures from sequence, there have been, I would say, like so many people that have worked on this problem of protein folding for so many years, for so many decades. But eventually we got something that is able to fold a protein given its sequence. Uh, but the people who have been working all these decades, they also have a role in contributing towards that, although their names might not be highlighted. So I would also say that, yeah, don't be in the field for glory. Uh, just be there as an honest servant to science. Um, do it with all your conviction. Do it with your passion. Be true to it. Be confident in yourself, and whatever happens will happen, for good or for bad. It's not up to you. I think this applies to almost all facets of life. But yeah. Sorry for going on a very preachy tangent.
I really like the words honest servant to science. Wow, great. That was much needed motivation. Thank you so much for your time. With that, we come to the end of our podcast. And thank you so much for an enriching conversation as well. Your words would surely leave a great impact on our listeners, and all the very best for your journey ahead.
Thank you very much for having me on the podcast. It was a first experience for me as well, and I'm really happy it turned out very well. I wish you both also all the best for your
Thank you,
careers,
sir.
and also all your listeners, all the best in their careers. And yeah, just be confident. Yeah, and
Thank you.
I'd be happy to help if anybody would like to contact me. I'm available on LinkedIn.